Good evening. Good evening and welcome to book club. So glad that you're here with me. It's a shame I can't really see you, but I'm glad that you are here. The comment section is on. Let me see. I'm going to make sure that I also, what's up? As you're logging on, let me know what city, what state, and or what country you might be logging in from. I am linking the link to actually get in the studio with us. What's up, Kelly Daly? All right, so if y'all give me a minute, I need everybody to tag and share, right? Tag and share, put this up live, bring a friend. What's up? In West Philadelphia, we got Raynell Waitman. We've got Las Vegas in the house, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Philly, South Carolina. Jerry Francis, hello, hello, hello. So it's so good to see all of you here. Let me go ahead and post this one more time as we're giving people a chance to get on. It's crazy because everything that I'm listening to and studying throughout the day, it just pops up. All right, so let me now share this. I'm always fiddling around trying to figure out where the link is. Copy link. Okay. Now I'm gonna post this on Facebook. And I already posted it. Book club is alive. And put this link. And then I'm going to post it. And then I'm going to also post it in a few different places, y'all, so that we can get. Thank you, Sally, for posting that for me. You know, I've learned for a long time now that you know, when I was always trying to figure out why my I felt like I was hitting a ceiling sometimes, Jerry, sometimes Tedra, and a glass ceiling, right? Not even a glass ceiling, but just the ceiling. And I started reading, finally read a John C. Maxwell book, and one of the 15 irrefutable laws, right, of success. One of the laws talks about the law of the lid, right? The law of the lid. And happy Mother's Day to all of you. Happy belated Mother's Day to all of you moms out there. But literally, the law of the lid. And I really didn't understand that, Stacy. I didn't understand, Marguerite, what that meant at first, Sally, Kelly, the law of the lid. Now, we know that when we put a lid on something, when we put a lid on something, why do we put a lid on something? Why do we put a lid on something? Let's talk about it. The law of the lid. Why do we put a lid on something? What's up, Monica? As you guys are logging on, let me know what city, what state, what country you're logging in from. But let's talk about that. Sean Dunnigan, why do we put a lid on something? Y'all talk to me because we're going, you know, I can't see you. So y'all got to talk to me. Why do we put a lid on something? Anybody? Can anybody tell me why? I'm trying to make sure I keep posting that we are actually live on book club. I want us to talk so it doesn't. What else? What else? So it doesn't spill. But what else? What else, y'all? What else? What else? Why do we put a lid on something? To contain it. We put a lid on something to contain it. To contain it, to stop it from spilling out most times, right? So the law of the lid, when we're experiencing the law of the lid, nothing can get in and nothing can get out. So when you're wondering why you feel like you are experiencing the movie Groundhog Day, where nothing in, nothing out, right? Nothing can get in, nothing can get out. But most of all, nothing can get in. Hello, Bridget Jackson. Nothing can get in. So when you're experiencing the law of the lid, you are this container full. The law of the lid. So what you have to do now is stretch to then build to a place where you're moving to the next lid. You should never run out of hitting lids, because you should be continuing to grow. Hello, Gloria. Continuing to grow, right? Okay, you guys. So the law of the lid means that you're at capacity. The law of the lid means that nothing else can go in and nothing else is coming out. The law of the lid. If you find that you're just operating out of like you're almost like on automatic, right? The law of the lid. So we're reading The Power of One More. You don't even need the book to be here. We're reading The Power of One More. I did give the link to the chat, to the studio. If you guys want to come into the studio and kind of be here with me, and that would be great to have some of you here in the studio with me. But we're reading chapter 10. We're starting here with chapter 10. This book is by Ed Mylett, The Ultimate Guide to Happiness and Success. Because what is the point in having success and not being happy? So one more higher standard. The power of one more higher standard. Hello, Carol Jackson. Of all of the judgments we make through life, none are more important than the estimate we place on ourselves according to our own internal standards. So let's look up the word standards. Y'all know how I feel about us knowing what we're talking about and the context of what we're talking about. So let's look at the definition of the word standards. Okay. The definition of the word standards is a level of quality or attainment, an idea or thing used as a measure, norm, or model in comparative evaluations. Standard. So this says, of all the judgments we make through life, none are more important than the estimate we place on ourselves according to our own internal standards. So our internal standard, according to our own level or quality of attainment, according to our own idea or thing used as a measure, a norm, or a model in comparative evaluations. I want to challenge us this evening. Is it okay for me to challenge us this evening? Is it okay? I want to challenge us this evening. Why is it that we expect more from other people than we expect from ourselves? Why do we expect more from other people than we expect from ourselves? So somebody let us down. They said they did something you didn't like, or whatever the case may be, but we don't hold our own selves accountable, or we make excuses as to why things don't get done. Well, it's because, I was having car, when you keep telling your boss why you late to work, the boss don't want to hear that. You supposed to be there, and you knew last night you supposed to be there. So you could, what I learned through personal development, Sally, what's up, Robin Ball and Robin Anita, Tedra? What I've learned is that how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you show up late for one thing, that's what you do. You show up late. And how you do anything, let me tell you something. You'll never be great late all the time. Ooh. So because it's easier. So why do we now have this huge expectation for other people, but we don't have it for ourselves? You said because it's easier to see someone else's fault than it is to look at your own. I know when y'all were growing up, your mamas told y'all the same thing I learned growing up. And that was, when you're pointing a finger at somebody, the thumb is always pointing back at you. How many, any of y'all mamas ever tell y'all that? When you're pointing a finger at somebody else, that thumb is always pointing back at you. You know what? Another thing my mom said to me, My parents said to me growing up that if you're able to identify a certain thing in other people, it's because that same thing is in you. So we found out what the definition of standards is, right? Of all the judgments we make through life, none are more important than the estimate we place on ourselves according to our own internal standards. Some people hold others to a higher standard than they do themselves. That's what I'm talking about. Why? Because you can't look at, and here's another one. Thank you, Holy Ghost. It's okay for you to look to the side, right? You looking at the side that way and that way. Let's just say everybody got a weight loss goal, right? But because you lost 10 pounds or 15 pounds and somebody else only don't even look like they claim they lost 10, but they ain't really, you can't really see it. Now you looking like, what they doing? So it's so easy to compare yourself to someone else that's struggling like you. When that's not. See, when you want to compare, you got to compare yourself to someone who's done or doing better than you. You don't compare yourself to somebody that's in the same race as you. No, you compare yourself to somebody else that's already won the race. So that you can look and measure. Now, because when you measure like that, you got a lot of work to do. I don't care that you lost 10, lose 20. Right? That's what it was, Cheryl. When you point a finger at somebody, you got 3 of them pointing back at you. These three. That's right. That's what it was. Thank you. Yes, and the Bible, the parable, the speck, and the log in your eye. Exactly. All right, so we got to be very, very careful. All right, y'all? Very careful. So I've got a mind-blowing revelation for you. That's what the book says. There's a very high probability that you're not going to reach your goals. But here is some great news. You're absolutely guaranteed to get your standards, right? That's the real truth. Let me say that again. Ed Mylett says, there's a very high probability that you are not going to reach your goals. But here is some great news. You're absolutely guaranteed to get your standards. That's the real truth. Fortunately, goals and standards are two sides of the same coin. They are inextricably linked together. That means if you want the best possible chance of reaching your goals, you need to adjust your standards, and reaching your goals will become almost automatic. Here's how. Let me explain. One of my goals is to never, ever retail less than $100 a day. Bianca, that's $3,000 a month. That's $36,000 for the year. Right, y'all? Did I do that math right? So, my goal is to retail no less than $100 a day. $3,000 a month, $36,000 additional a year. Okay, now here's the deal. Let's just say, Bianca, that I have a really good day and I retail for $500 in a day. Now, I don't take my foot off the gas for the next day. However, because I did so much in one day, that kind of does it'll. I'm not so mad if I don't do $100 the next day. Does that make sense? However, I'm not sitting around either like I'm good because I did 500 yesterday. No, because my standard says that I set a standard for myself that I'm going to do. Actually, in the beginning, back in February, my standard was $100 a day. Now it's $250. Because once you manage to hit that standard on a regular basis, you got to up that number. If you never stretch yourself, the law of the lid, right, Bianca? So if I keep saying that I'm going to do $100 a day, $100, and I've already done $100 a day over and over and over and over again, then what does that mean? What does that mean, Sally? I can't keep saying, oh, yeah, that's my standard, $100 a day, because I'm never stretching myself past my obvious capacity. My obvious capacity is that $100 a day is nothing. Does this, right, y'all? So what I said all of that, not to toot my own horn, I said all of that to say my standard was already set. Does that make sense? My standard was set. And because my standard was set, the goal came easy. Does this make sense? The standard was set. So once you master, okay, if my standard is $100 a day, am I going to stay? How long am I going to stay at $100 a day? So you mean I'm never going to stretch myself to move past $100 a day? Even if you jump from 100 to say, let me go, my standard is now 150. And then once that becomes the thing that you're hitting all the time, then, all right, my standard now is my standard is to never go to sleep without having one person in the system. So if I enroll 4 in a day and I don't enroll anybody tomorrow, which generally doesn't happen, right? Then I'm not so mad because I did 4 in a day. Is any of this making sense? Right. All right. So the difference between, here's how we're going to do it. The difference between goals, GOALS, and standards. Hello, Shannon. Goals and standards. Shammy Sham. Many people that I meet confuse goals and standards. Let's look up the definition of the word goal. All right. We already know standards is an idea or a thing used as a measure, a norm, or model in comparative evaluations, a level of quality or attainment. How many of you can admit that your standards are too low? Now let's look up this definition of the word goals. Let's see what goals. Goals is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or a desired result. Let me say that again. A goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or a desired result. A goal. That means that I got to set a goal based on what my ambition is, what my desired result. What is the end game? So when I started a business, an online work from home business in 2014, I then decided, Rosa, good evening, in 2015, Bianca, that I no longer wanted to slave behind the chair. But here's the deal. And I hear a lot of people say that. I'm going to make this my full-time income. I'm going to do this. And let me tell y'all something. We'll probably talk more about this on our training tonight at 8 o'clock. I hear people say all that all the time, right? They get excited. Them first 90 days, Sean, Marguerite, in it to win it. Them first 90 days is the excitement phase. The real work don't start till after 90 days. So I see who people really are 90 days in. That's when you start to see the real people. Who are you for real? Shows up, because anybody can be excited in the beginning when it's all good and easy and it's not requiring much of you. But in order for an athlete to go to the next level, what happens? Kelly, what has to happen to the athlete? So my desire goal, it says the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or a desired result. Let's look at what the word ambition means. Because I like the definition of, but it says ambition. So definition of ambition, listen, is a strong desire to do or to achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work. Bianca, they are kicking us in the behind today. Let me read that again. Ambition, a strong desire to do or to achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work. Desire and determination to achieve success. That's what ambition is. Ambition. All right. So they are not. Before you can achieve your goals, you must understand the role standards play and why they are so important. All right. We should all write that down. In order for us and before you can achieve your goals, rather, you must understand the role your standards play and why they are so important. The athlete actually doesn't stop. When the Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl, they didn't quit. See, here's the deal. Let me tell you what the athletes don't do. And I watched Paige not stop or quit yesterday either, while we were out there vending in the hot sun and 90-degree weather, right? Athletes who want to be elite, not just an athlete, they get their team training, they use their team trainers, but then what they do is then they go and they pay for a professional trainer to then hone in on what is their issue, where's their weakness, how do we make them stronger as an individual, because they want to be elite. And they do this extra training. Like right now, book club is extra training, right? So it's not like the regular. I've been doing book club now for 4 years, right? And so coming to book club means that you want some extra, like you want to grow some more. So you're showing up for this free session to have a book read to you. You don't even have to read it yourself. But not only is this book, elite athletes go the extra mile. They don't look at having to come to book club as a task or something tedious. And they don't just log on to say that they were on, but they come on because they want to find themselves and they want to see themselves and they want to say, what is it in me that is withholding me from achieving a level of success that I say I want? So we show up. As a matter of fact, elite athletes know that there's a training at 8:00. And they know because they were on last week when we said, okay, there will be no training until Monday. We knew it was a holiday weekend. We wanted people to get out and go meet some people, go move some product. So elite athletes know that there's a training at 8:00 tonight because we said we will resume Monday night. Elite athletes. Elite athletes get up earlier for power hour at 6 a.m. if you're on the East Coast, right? Maybe even Central Standard Time. Elite athletes don't have to be told that information is in the featured section of our team. It's just pinned right at the top, like elite athlete. So you got to ask yourself, how bad do we want it? Or do we keep allowing these little gnats to get in the way of our success that we say that we want? Got to be there, right? Got to show up. Here's the key difference. Goals, write this down. Somebody type this in the chat. Goals start out as thoughts. They are desirable outcomes that take root in our minds. Your brain either confirms these goals or they pass as fleeting thoughts. When you decide that you want to achieve a goal, you create standards as a means of taking those thoughts and applying actions to them. So you want to think of standards as the performance or the benchmarks you're willing to tolerate. Standards are the actions that propel you towards your goals, and your goals will effectively become byproducts of how you approach your standards. Goals without standards are empty. Goals without standards are useless. Now, here's what's so crazy about that. Would I close $100 in retail every single day if I wasn't active on social media and didn't put up my reels and do my lives and put up my stories and would I, if I sat back and just did nothing, would I close more than $100 in sales a day, more than $200 in sales a day? Y'all, see, can I bless y'all real quick? Let me throw this one in for free. Most people will look at that number that I set for myself to do $200 to $250 a day in retail. I went from $100. I was like, okay, I'm doing that with my eyes closed. Come on in and give yourself a harder task. But here's what the deal is, Rosa. I know that somebody on here, and I need y'all to be as honest as you can, even if you're watching this as a replay. How many of you, when I said that number, you said, oh, that's a lot of customers? What if I told you that you can do that with 1 or 2 customers? See, it doesn't require me to go get 50 customers a day. What if you actually have the right conversations with people and you talk to them about what they need, right? And you give them a way to be able to purchase what they need, even if you have to teach them how to do split payments so that they can get what they need. You get paid up front, they get to pay theirs in split payments, right? If you don't know about that, that's through Square Register, right? Come on, you're an entrepreneur. And I think Cash App might even have that option now too, or something like that, right? And so now you might only need 1 or 2 people to make that goal. But if you're posting every single day, I'm not trying to have to go do, I don't want to have to go do 50 customers a day when I can do 1, 2, or 3 and meet my goal. Because I know the power of what I've got. And when you know the power of what you have, you're sharing information. This is so good, by the way. So, we call this Jamaica Me Crazy. Okay? So, think of standards as the performance benchmarks you're willing to tolerate. Oh. Think of standards as the performance benchmarks you're willing to tolerate. Standards are the actions that propel you towards your goals. Goals effectively become byproducts of how you approach your standards. Goals without standards are empty. Goals without standards are useless. The world constantly tells you to review and upgrade your goals. Which should you be doing? But the secret, which you should be doing, but the secret to constantly review and upgrade your standards, you need to evaluate what you're willing to tolerate and not tolerate. So, not everybody is in business for the money. So let's just say for whatever reason, maybe, maybe you fell into some money. Maybe you had some inheritances. Maybe you invested well. Maybe it's not the money that you need, right? Then what is it? So if it's not the money that you need, what drives you? What are you still willing to tolerate? Because if it's not the money that you need, why are you here? And if you're saying because I want to help people, then why are you not helping people? Because just because you don't need the money, do you walk around acting like nobody else needs it too? Because money, not everybody is in business for money. Some people are in business for the community. So what if you are in business for the community? Then your job is to continue to build the community. So you now need to go find other people who need community as well, if it's not about the money. But then for those of you that are in business for the money, what are you willing to tolerate? How many days are you willing to tolerate not meeting a goal? How many days are you willing to not tolerate not turning sales, not having return customers off of a product that's drawing people back and you know that it works? What are you willing to tolerate? Business owners, entrepreneurs, right? What are you? It's so crazy. What are you willing to tolerate? Right there, right? When you set a goal, you must decide if you can tolerate the standards that are essential to reach your goal. Are you willing to tolerate that it's going to be some staying up to the wee hours of the morning sometimes to get ready for an event that you've got the next day? Can you tolerate having to miss holidays? Can you tolerate it having to stand out there in the hot sun? Can you tolerate having to keep your word? Can you tolerate it? Can you tolerate having to wake up early? Can you tolerate it? Can you tolerate the fact that you think that people, we just want to go live? No, we know that it's part. See, we're living in a digital era, in a different world where you got to do it all now. It used to be you could do one or the other, but now it's like you got to do it all. There is no one or the other. So when you set a goal, you must decide if you can tolerate the standards that are essential to reach your goal. Tolerance doesn't apply only to the things you need to move your life forward. Your tolerance level can apply to many different areas. What's up? What's up? Right? Such as your existing relationships, leadership, and business dealings. Right now, you can tolerate the business results you're currently getting. Can you tolerate the amount of money you're currently making? Can you tolerate the amount of bliss or passion you currently experience? If you can, you're going to keep getting them. It's only when you decide that you can no longer tolerate the treatment you're getting in a relationship or the business results that you're getting that you can change them. It's only when you decide you can no longer tolerate the amount of money you're making that you'll begin to move forward to begin your goal of making more money. If you're willing to tolerate something, that's probably what you're going to get. So the book is saying everything that you're getting right now is what you're tolerating. This says if you don't change your standards, then your goals are irrelevant. Somebody put that in the chat. If you don't change your standards, your goals are irrelevant. Many people fail or are miserable because they set standards that are too low for how they want to be treated. If you don't establish what your standards are and clearly define them, woo, this is so good. Other people will act to undermine them simply because they aren't clear about what is acceptable to you and what is not. Sometimes this downward push can unintentionally come from well-meaning people in your life who may not even be aware they're doing this to you. For example, if high standards and boundaries don't exist between two people, the relationship will be troubled and often fail. Your relationship standards must be clearly defined and mutually agreed upon. Also, never tolerate treatment less than what you're worthy of. Set standards in your relationship with your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, business relationships, or anyone else in your life. Make those standards consistent with your self-worth. It's two things I want to say about that. You know, it's funny that I watch some women be in relationships with men and the men can dog them out, do them bad. I mean, they keep running back to that man. No, he ain't no good. But let you say one thing that they don't like. They gonna cuss you out all over Facebook, talk about you, tell everybody not to be your friend. But this man who dogging them out, cheating on them, talking them crazy, like, have y'all noticed that? That's number one. Then as we're reading here, for example, if high standards or boundaries don't exist between two people, the relationship will be troubled and often fail. You know what's so crazy? Jason, Bianca, Marguerite, Sally, Tedra, Shammy. I listen to what people tell me they want, right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna earn $10,000 a month. That's what I need to happen, and I need to earn that. And we make a plan. This is what you need to do every single day, and this is what da. And yeah, I'm in it. I'm there. I'm in it, right? Now, what happens is when a person tells me that they've got a goal of $10,000 a month, I treat you a certain kind of way based on what you said your goal was. What ends up happening, Shammy, is that I usually end up treating the person like the goal that they say that they want, and then they start acting like somebody else in the process. Now there's a problem. Because I thought you said you wanted $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month. But now you're acting like you want $100 a week. but I know what you said, which is why I often tell people I listen with my eyes. I don't listen with my ears. I listen with my eyes because I hear what you're saying, but I'm watching what you do. Because when you say you want a certain thing and you really like mean it, nothing's going to keep you from, because you set the standard. And because you set the standard, I don't have to say to you, oh, you weren't on training? No, when you start not showing up for training, I already know where to put you. Because it's where you put yourself. And then people will be like, yeah, she's just acting all funny. No, you acting funny. Because you said you wanted it. They don't really want it. Exactly. They tell me what they think I want to hear. Or they tell me certain things to get in certain arenas and to have certain access. And they don't really realize that without me, the access is gone too. That I am the key to the access door. Me. Right? So, because the people that you're trying to get access to, they know too. They can see it too. So, listen to this. In business, an organization without high standards is an organization that is out of control. Oh my gosh. The book said it, not me. In business, an organization without high standards is an organization that is out of control. So ask yourself, and you don't even have to write the answer. If this says in business, an organization without high standards is an organization that is out of control, you have to remember that every person that's in business is part of, it's like a team thing, right? Are you the weakest link? Because this says if you don't have any high standards, it's out of control. It's an organization not performing at peak capacity. Ain't nobody ever gonna say I'm the weakest link, that I'm not pulling in my weight. Oh no. Oh no. Because now its organization is not performing at peak capacity. As competitive as business is, that's a recipe for failure. In your business, can every employee tell you what the organization's goals are and what the standards are to achieve these business goals? And just as important, can they live up to them? The greatest companies and the dynastic sports teams always set the highest standards. So Bianca, if LeBron James won the championship or at least got to the playoffs, right? Next year, what is his expectation supposed to be? He certainly ain't supposed to be like, well, I got to the playoffs last year. I'm good this year. What? They didn't win the championship. Getting to the playoffs is not the, come on, y'all. So you can't just sit around like, yeah, well, I mean, I did $200 last week. That was good. And because if your goal is to help other people because you're not in it for the money, who did you help? Or are you really lying or being selfish? Because you said, it's not about the money for me. I just want to help other people. Do you really? Who did you help? Crickets. Uh-oh. Crickets. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Who did you help? So, where you find your standards? You already have standards that define your life. Everyone already has standards that define their lives. We see it. Standards that define your lives. Understanding where those standards came from is one of the steps of leveling up and creating higher standards that will lead you to change. Your standards reflect the people you work with, your parents, your friends, your family members, your church, your social media, news media, and the books you read or not, or don't read. You have other tribal influences as well. If you're an athlete, you idolize stars like Simon Biles, Mia Hamm, LeBron James, Mike Trout, Patrick Mahomes, Techies identify with Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. Intellectuals are moved by great thought and religious leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Ayn Rand, Rick Warren, or Brené Brown. And you can never underestimate music's power through artists like Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Adele, Taylor Swift, John Mayer, Post Malone, or Ed Sheeran. You may have even been influenced by one-off casual conversations you've had with strangers. By our nature, we are social creatures. We need input. We seek validation in our relationships. Most of us enjoy belonging to a variety of groups of like-minded people. We like exchanging ideas and learning new things that grow and shape our perceptions. These perceptions influence our beliefs about our world, our community, our family, and most importantly, our own being. You can't turn off these types of interactions. You'd wither and die. But you can be aware of how these interactions shape what you think and how that defines you as a person. Make it a point to understand how they impact you from a behavioral, moral, ethical, and godly perspective. Let me give you this analysis. So you go to church, right? And you go to church because this is my church where I've been going for all my life. It's my home church. And you go to church, but there's no challenge. I notice when the cricket's going to fall again. And so now you're sitting up in a church where the word is not challenging you. You're just there fulfilling your religious obligations. Maybe it's because it's your family church and this is where I got to be. And, because you got to sit in your seat and you got to read that scripture every Sunday. But there's no challenge for you to grow. Law of the lid. Law of the lid. Law of the lid. Some people don't even realize that a lot of what is not happening or happening in their businesses are coming from a lack of spiritual growth. Because you're not being stretched. You're not being, so anyway, that one was for free, but I'm going to go ahead and keep reading. So by our nature, these perceptions influence our beliefs about our world, our community, our faith, and most importantly, our own being. You can't turn off these types of interactions. You'd rather wither or die, right? Make it a point to understand how they impact you from your behavioral, moral, ethical, and godly perspective, right? Think of your brain as a blender, Once you're exposed to different ideas, there's so much that I want to say about that, y'all. Like if you sit up in church and there's never no conviction because it's just that watered down word, just nothing, you in the wrong place. They just teaching you Bible stories and anyway, okay, this is 2023. The word ought to be challenging you. The word ought to be cutting you up one side and down the other. Anyway, next. So once you're exposed to different ideas, there it is, right there. Once you're exposed to different ideas, a word that's challenging, right? Your brain takes all that input, whether you agree with it or not, and blends those thoughts to create something new. You may completely reject new notions on the surface, but subconsciously, your brain processes things over time. And here's another one for free. No, I'm going to leave that one. Over time. And you might change your way of thinking, perhaps in a way that leads you to higher and more enlightened standards, right? The incoming information you receive daily is inevitable. To activate the changes meant for you. To activate the changes meant for you. To activate the changes meant for you. This is so good. To activate the changes meant for you. There must be a conscious decision to take only what you think is valuable and apply it in a thoughtful way to create your unique standards. If you are lazy and you go with the standards of the people, places, groups, and media you're in proximity with, you'll get the same things as everyone else. that isn't the way to your best life. I don't want to be around nobody that's not challenged. I don't want to be around nobody not challenging me. I don't want to be around. I like meat. I don't want no milk. I don't want no formula. I don't want no mashed foods. I want to be around people because iron sharpens iron. And if you're sitting around and you're feeling like you're not growing, you're not learning, you're not nothing, you know why? Because you're sitting around a bunch of people that's doing exactly what you're doing, and there's no friction. There is no friction. See, here's what I know. Real people that want you to level up, guess what? It ain't always going to be peachy, creamy, hunky-dory, laugh, all the time. No, there's going to be some times when you up in that ring with them. But what happens after you get out the ring? Are we still okay? Are we still okay when I got to say the truth to you? When I got to speak the truth because I love you? Because if I didn't care about you, I wouldn't say nothing. But we want to be around people because it make us feel good. And what makes you feel good got you going in reverse. Check your business numbers. Check your numbers. Check all these people you sign up. Ain't nobody doing nothing. It's you. It's you. Check them numbers. They ain't doing nothing. Oh, okay. Check you. It's spiritual. And stop looking at what everybody else is doing and look at yourself. Something is off with you. You. All right? So now how do you activate to a higher standard? This is good, y'all. We got less than 15 minutes left. All right? Here we go. All right. Are you happy with the amount of money you're currently making? Are you happy with the amount of money? The kind of amount of money you're making? Here's the deal. I hate when people be like, I make good money. Okay, and that could end tomorrow. And it wears me out, Bianca, when people are like, I'm good. Why would you stay at good? It's just good. You know why? Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why they stay at good, Bianca. They stay at good because it's comfortable. I don't got to do no more. That's too much. All that y'all doing, you mean y'all got to train it every night? Well, you go to work every day and don't get nothing. Y'all got to train it every night? I mean, dang. I can't do that. Okay, well, stay with your okay job. Don't ask to borrow no money from me. No more. Come on, y'all. See, there's one thing that let me go, because we talked about that this week. And it's one thing, sometimes people just fall in hard times. When you got a person that's trying and they fall in hard times, that's different. I'm not talking about that because I've been there, right? I'm talking about the people that just want to sit around and do nothing. And just do nothing. You have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. I know that sounds crazy, but you got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable, right? And so perhaps you've been stuck in a job that has paid you $75,000 a year for the past 3 years. You tell yourself you want to make $100,000 next year. That's your goal. The question now becomes, how will I get there? And that's where standards come into play. Standards are the specific set of actions you must take to achieve your goal. In this case, you might need to increase the number of calls you make to clients or take business classes that add to your value, making you a more attractive candidate for a promotion. You may need to come to work earlier, stay later, put in some time on Saturdays, or find a new job that pays you what you think you're worth. Standards are most valuable when they are precise. So you cannot set a goal or set a standard that's like wishy-washy. You got to know that this is my standard. That's what I set it. Some of us got higher standards on the food we eat than who we are as a person. No, for real. We got higher standards on that and don't have no standards on who we are, on the fact that we sitting around not challenging ourselves. Come on. right? Standards are most valuable when they are precise. Make 20 calls more per week to clients. Take classes that will lead you to your master's degree in 18 months. Commit to working 6 hours every Saturday and staying 2 hours later, 3 days a week. These actions become your standards for reaching your goal. Commit to getting up at 6 a.m. to get on Power Hour and do the tasks. Commit to getting your certain amount of post up every single day. Commit to, a certain level of follow up. I'm so sorry, y'all. Commit to it. Unfortunately, many people never get beyond dreaming about their goals. Even if there's a strong desire to achieve a goal they've set, they don't want to pay the price for reaching that goal. Because as soon as it starts feeling uncomfortable, here come the excuses. And excuses are the tools of the incompetent. And those that use them seldom have success. Right? Seldom. Unfortunately, they don't go beyond their dreaming, right? About their goals. Even if there's a strong desire to achieve a goal they've set, they don't want to pay the price for reaching the goal. In all parts of your life, when it comes to your goal standards, they must be aligned to find harmony. That harmony will breed success. When there is harmony between your goals and your standards, that harmony will breed success. Goals without standards are just a bunch of rudderless thoughts and words. They're only unattached desires that will never materialize unless you pair them with the right standards. If you've created goals and fallen short, it is because your standards are not congruent with your goals. Now, last week I asked the question, how many of you set goals and you don't achieve them? And quite a few. As a matter of fact, most of the people that were on book club last week said me. Or maybe I was live on Facebook when I asked the question. How many of you set a goal and oftentimes don't reach it? Here's why. If you created goals and fallen short, it's because your standards are not congruent with your goals. There is no harmony. So you set a goal, but don't set a standard about your actions towards the goal. So you set the goal. It's like this. Here's my goal. And if you hit it, hoo. If you don't, hoo. Because you set a goal and ain't no standards, no accountability, no nothing. Oh, well, you didn't even try. You just set the goal and hope that the rest of the people around you was just going to make it happen. Oh, I'm going to just keep having conversations with them. How's that working out for you? If you created goals and fallen short, here's the answer to everybody that answered me. That's me. I keep setting goals and not hitting them. It is because your standards are not congruent with your goals. Here's something else that is truly liberating. When you set the right standards that match your goals, your life becomes much less stressful. Your goals, while important, become secondary. And I know that may sound a bit counterintuitive, but it's the truth. For example, if you want to build a championship team, what are the preparation standards you're willing to tolerate? What are the execution standards you're willing to tolerate? I'm going to ask that question for you all. If you want to build a championship team, what are the preparation standards you're willing to tolerate? And what are the execution standards you're willing to tolerate? Here's what's so crazy. When you talk about building a championship team, right? Most people, Carol, immediately start thinking about who they can go get that's going to win the championship for them. When the first person you got to think about when you're talking about building a championship team is what you going to do. What part you going to play? What execution standards are you bringing to the table? What preparation standards are you bringing to the table? What part of it are you going to, how are you going to invest in your efforts and saving yourself? Coach Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach of all time. His teams have won more than 80% of the 300 plus games he's coached. During the 2020 season, he won his seventh national championship. Despite contracting COVID 19 midseason, even more impressive, his Crimson Tide rolled to an undefeated 13-0 season along the way. Coach Saban sets a different kind of standard than most other coaches. Those coaches create the standard of, we'll practice this until we get it right. Coach Saban sets the standard of, we'll practice this until we can't get it wrong. Not until we get it right, but we're going to keep doing this until we can't get it wrong. That's next level thinking and a next level standard. It's also a championship standard. The difference is so subtle, but it separates the greatest of all time from the rest of the world. So we're going to stop right here because we're going to go into next week the 9 ways to set a higher standard. I hope that you guys come back next week and that you bring somebody with you. Wow. The consequences of higher standards. I really would hope that for most people that are listening today, that this chapter will be the turnaround chapter for everyone. Because there has to be a point where, okay, that's what me and Stanisha are doing. Yes, that's what we are doing. So if I'm building a championship team, and now I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, let me show people what to do. Get out here in these streets. I'm not just telling people what to do. I'm showing them what to do. And not only was I out bending in 90-degree weather, dressed in heels, not in flats, because I'm a professional. I didn't look shabby presenting my offer to people. Right? And so now we got to say to ourselves, this is time from the rest of the world. We're going to talk about the 9 ways to set a higher standard next week. I hope and pray that this impacted you in some way and that you will be back with us. Thank you all for coming in the studio with me. I know I didn't get a chance to bring you up, but I got y'all next week, right? So listen, you guys, it's been a smash bash. Let me know what y'all thought about the chapter 10 so far. We already knew based on the title of chapter 10 that it was going to be a jab, jab, uppercut. We knew it last week when we finished chapter 9 and we saw the title of chapter 10, higher, talking about standards. We knew that it was going to kick us in the behind. Okay. But it's a good thing because in order for us to grow, we got to be stretched. Okay. We got to be stretched. And so this was good, you guys. This was good. Don't run. Don't run. This was great. Don't run. And here's the thing. I want to really admonish all of you guys that are in business, right? In your first 90 days, it's like all this excitement, right? And people are trying your stuff and then right? And then after 90 days, that's when you kind of like, you're getting a little flat line because the excitement part is like, right? Because the real work starts. You know how after the wedding, right? Drove down my street and kicked the door down, but so good, right? Just like when you get married, right? It's like, oh, you can do no wrong. And then, right? And then boom, here it come, right? Because we're real people. What I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, right? Usual, very ministry, right? You got to understand that it is all a part of the process. And if you're now at that 90-day part, it is because got a lid on that. And we now, right? This is when the real work starts, the real work. And so don't be dismayed. And if you tired already and we just 90 days in, you got to rethink whether you really want that big money. You got to rethink it. And then if that tires you out Instead of thinking about the work, think about how many people's lives you need to impact. Okay? And that will help you to not be tired, right? Because I certainly, I was saying last night, I'm tired in the work, but I'm certainly not tired of the work, right? So perhaps you're tired in the work, but you certainly can't be tired of the work based on what you said that you wanted. And so I am very grateful that you joined me here today. Listen, you have to remember that no matter what you're going through in your life, that you can live again, laugh again, hope again, dream again, and you most certainly can bling again. I want you to have a blingtastic rest of your evening, a blingtastic week. Pay it forward this week. Do a good deed. Be kind to one another, you guys, and make sure that you bring somebody back here. Tell them all about book club. Bring somebody back here so that they can share with us next week. They don't even need the book. And remember, I hope and pray that you are all followed Bling TV 3765. We'll see you next Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night, and God bless you all.